Okay. This says I'm live. I'm going to assume I'm live. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, please. Wow. That's interesting. I'm only just finding out. Wow. Wow, that's fucking horseshit. That's really funny. Okay. Well, I just found out apparently that I'm on Instagram shit list now too because of what? Because I'm sharing what? Apparently. Wow. That's pretty fucking funny. That's pretty fucking funny. Hang on. Okay. Says I'm live. Okay. Says I'm live. Can I play music? Can I at least do that? Or are they going to make it so that I can't do that either? Let's find out, shall we? I guess I'm live. I'll be official. This is the closest thing that I have to theme music. This is me just effing around with some organ stops. Actually, I'm going to play this. It's called Theme to the Infrared, which was a band name that I liked. So, hello, folks. It's 9 o'clock. It's Saturday, February 20th, about at 7:32. You're hearing music in the background. This is me just kind of screwing around with some software. And it's called Theme to the Infrared, which is a band name that I think I need to use a little more liberally for some of the things that I do. But anyway, that's that. Anyway, yeah, what's interesting is that past few Saturdays of going live, and I've got to start recording here because I'm stupid. Anyway, past few Saturdays of doing this thing again, I've picked 7:30 on Saturday nights, and I've been doing like a dual thing where I will go to YouTube and and go live, but also try to do Instagram. And actually, what I need to do now, firstly, is I need to add to Instagram for a second. So you'll bear with me as I do this live on Instagram. Um, all right. Hmm. Hey folks, apparently Instagram has put me on their shit list, so Instagram's being a dick as well. Not exactly sure why. I assume it's because it's affiliated with Facebook, and I've been using Instagram for my political posts lately. So sorry, go to YouTube. Anyway, and I'm sending that to my story, so then that way I can send it to um, that way I can send it as a post. Instagram is being a dick. Go to YouTube link. Let's see if I still have it. No. Yeah, it's going to be a dick there too. Come on, man. Okay. Sorry, excuse me. Copy the link. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. It's shared, such as it is for the millions and thousands of people that I'm going to be talking to tonight. You know, as of right now, it says, well, there was two. Now there's just one. So, and I assume that one is the one that I'm using to just sort of why does it keep doing that? That's so weird. Um, yeah. So to Facebook and Instagram. There you go. So it's funny because what I think is really funny about the hypocrisy of all that shit is that like I was just seeing um links to people like Steve Bannon and Rudy Giuliani and all these right wing hacks, Nazis who have a free reign, to talk about the bullshit they talk about, and yet those of us who are calling them out on it and knowing in certain terms, we're the ones who actually are getting struck off the rolls, for stripped of our platform. So like I was banned from Twitter because I took a racist to terms. Oh wow, now it's zero. So somehow right now zero people are following me, which is really funny because I'm following me. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty much horseshit. So, as far as I know, I'm not even live on YouTube at this point. I don't even know. It says I am. I'm looking at me doing it as my just kind of looking at the feed. So, I don't know. I guess I'm live. Right now I'm still in Facebook jail until next week. Next week I'll probably try and do another round, assuming I don't find myself in jail again. I'll be going to be a nice little boy and not say anything bad about the racists, right? Um, and this past week has been a really bad week for the racists because their dear, their one of their leaders, their Rush Limbaugh, decided to finally hit the road. Um, Good riddance, as far as I'm concerned. You know, and I know those of us on the other side of that horror show that he was get accused of, like, oh well, all this tolerance that you espouse as a libtard and blah 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 blah. It's like, listen, th- you know there's a difference between tolerance and tolerating intolerance. Okay, Rush Limbaugh was an awful human being. The things that he talked about, the way the thing, just awful, awful. Just like brought nothing to the table, helped no one. You know, uh, created division. Was the spokesperson to just horrific fucking things that were talked about with people who were dying. Uh, just a horrific human being. I'm sorry, death doesn't excuse what they did in this life. It doesn't. So, as far as I'm concerned, good riddance. You know, there's nothing. There was literally nothing redeeming about him. If on his deathbed or the week before he recanted everything that he had done, well, um, that would have been convenient, but a little too late. You know what I mean? But he clearly didn't. So anyway, I don't want. This is not going to be a riff about Limbaugh for the whole fucking 2 hours, but I'm just kind of going over the events of the week and my week and the week for everybody, and like I said, so for anybody that is listening to this hundreds of years from now, because they find this file and on a thumb drive somewhere or whatever, after the human race is run, to the thousands of people who will potentially listen to this after the fact. um, so what I was saying was that I just found out that Instagram is limiting my live feed, which is really interesting because I had no warning. There was no warning that I was in trouble. There was no warning that I was doing anything wrong on Instagram, other than the fact that because I'm in Facebook jail, I go to Instagram and I post stuff up there. But all they are I usually will like save a photo from Facebook and then I'll just repost it on Instagram. Yeah, my cat's here. I'm probably gonna start saying stuff. What do you want? Um. Anyway, so just unreal. This it's just unreal how the hypocrisy of this country and the hypocrisy of these platforms is just runs riot, which is really fucking hilarious. It's one of those things. Like I said, I was talking to a friend of mine about it last week about potentially doing something like, I don't know, getting like an AM station somewhere somehow, or an AM feed radio, or a radio frequency, and doing a radio feed, doing a radio station. My cat's just doing his howling routine. Yeah, dude, calm down. Though, of course, some people would say, well, you have that, then you'd have the FCC to worry about. It's like, oh, really? Really? Okay. Well, I figure if the other right wing hacks can do it, this left wing hack could also do it, and talk openly and freely about how I think about those people, and talk about whatever the fuck I want to. Because I don't talk politics all the time, but unfortunately, it is part of our lives, isn't it? And I like to be, as informed as I possibly can, because I'm currently alive at the moment, as far as I know. If this is all a simulation, then this is all just horseshit. Could be. So this week, that was one of the things that happened. Limbaugh finally kicked the bucket, and good riddance, asshole. Texas, specifically because of global warming, has found themselves under a few inches of snow, but with below freezing temperatures and with an infrastructure that can handle it. So millions and millions of people are without power, without heat, without water, without food. Literally people freezing to death in their homes, children freezing to death in their beds, people being found frozen on the sidewalk, frozen to death, by the way. This is all still within the pandemic. The pandemic hasn't gone away. I mean, thank goodness at least there's vaccinations happening, and that the infection rates have gone down somewhat, despite the fact that there are now deadlier variants. He said, coughing. I'm assuming that's not a COVID cough. Floating around now. So it's like, at least the current administration is working towards like doing what they're fucking supposed to be doing as an administration, and doing what they can to clean up the goddamn mess that Trump left. I shouldn't even say his fucking name at this point, but so and the one of the things to remember about Texas, like we all kind of bitch and moan about Texas, and it's the South, and Texas talks about seceding all over the place, and the fact that they're run by fucking GOP cultists at this point. The fact that the ghouls that run the grid, the power grid for Texas, that's separate from the national grid, and it basically fell apart. Those fuckers are saying, "Oh, it's a jackpot now," because now it's about like how much the market will bear, because now all of a sudden electricity is this hot item. So we're going to charge the people that need electricity. They're going to get bills of $10,000. That's our jackpot, right? Do you seriously think people are going to fucking pay their bills? You seriously think people are going to pay a $10,000 electric bill? Dude, they're going to come and burn your fucking house down first. You billionaire fucks. Seriously. I mean, are you kidding me right now? This can't last much longer. The 350 million people in this country that are being fucked by corporations and corporate billionaire types, unregulated, and like gleefully saying we just hit this jackpot, while people are literally fucking freezing in their homes, freezing to death. And yet everybody, and it's put out there in the media, and everybody just kind of like hems and haws, and it's like, why the fuck are they not going to this motherfucker's house? It's like, you want to tell you what, let's put you in a nice cold fucking house for 24 fucking hours, see how you like it, asshole. There's your fucking jackpot. Seriously. I mean, we talk about the violence that happened on January 6th, and it was just like, that was insane violence that had nothing to do with anything other than misguided fucking intention. You want a revolution, a real one that isn't misguided and has some intention? I'll tell you what. The intention would be this. If you're a billionaire making money off the fucking suffering of millions of people, you better watch your back, because you're pushing it. Your people are really fucking pushing it with people. Jackpot. Are you fucking kidding me? Like gleefully, just like no worry, like just, and mainly because none of them have been taken to task at this point. So they figure, well, when they're not ever going to be taken to task. Ted Cruz, the slimiest motherfucker next to Trump, not only, basically said, well, Texas is freezing, so let's get the fuck out of here and go to Cancun, because it's over the Mexican border, because it's nice and warm there. And by the way, we're just going to leave our fucking dog in a freezing cold apartment while we're at it. Are you kidding me right now? It's bad enough that son of a bitch had something to do with the insurrection on January 6th. And now this, and yet what? He still has a fucking seat in the Senate? Are you kidding me right now? I mean, what the fuck, dude? If I look at somebody wrong when I'm at work, I get fucking fired. Jesus Christ. It's like, when do we fucking not hold these motherfuckers to accountable? I mean, just like fucking arrest the son of a bitch. Just fire him. I'm sorry. Anybody that's in Senate or higher, it's like, you can be fucking fired. Just like I can be fucking fired. I mean, come on, man. I mean, just unreal. So it's been kind of a crazy week that way, right? I had a fun weekend last weekend. Yeah. No. I had a bout with my own goddamn mental disabilities. There was like on Saturday or Sunday. No, was it Saturday or Sunday? I forget what the hell it was. It was after my show last week, and I had a fall at the house. Hit my head. I didn't tell many people this because it's fucking embarrassing. And then I think it might have been Sunday, but it was just like, um, it was all day. It was this confluence of just things going wrong to the point where I lost my shit. I really did. I lost my shit. It was just like I felt really picked on by the universe. I mean, again, talk about priorities, man. At least I'm in a heated house with food and a roof over my head and water and heat and stuff. So, talk about the privilege of being able to have a mental breakdown about nothing really. I basically spilled a cup of tea everywhere. Um, and it set me the fuck off because I'm that stressed out. But, that's my own shit. I'm stressed out for other reasons. But these are the kinds of stressors that have always plagued me. Um, I'm sure I'm not alone. Like little things like that will set you off, right? So one does what one has to do: punch a wall or two, clean the fucking mess up, and then go to sleep. What else are you supposed to do? And then go to work the next day. I mean, I don't fucking have a choice, dude. So I do that, and there it is. Work has been fun, basically covering for two people that up and left out of nowhere. It seemed just because they couldn't hack it or didn't like it, or I don't know what their effing problem was. But it falls to me and one other person pretty much to keep the fucking ship afloat. You know, and we're doing it because, well, funny how that works with professionalism and stuff like that. We are making that work because, again, what choice have we got? We're not going to just sort of allow for things at work to go fucking belly up. It's bad enough we're still having to deal with COVID stuff and COVID, protocols and the fear, making sure we're masked up and the fear, on a day-to-day basis because we don't have vaccinations yet, though we're getting tested. That fear is still always there. But I still have to go to work every day, What's the matter, dude? What? What? Come here. Hang on one second. My cat's needing my attention. What? Come here. Okay. All right. Well, I was going to pick you up to bring you up here. If you don't want to come up, then don't. Jesus Christ, man. Sometimes I don't know what the cat needs or wants. He just wants attention, Right? Well, just hang out, dude. Anyway. What else going on this week? Same old shit, pretty much. Different day. Just trying to get through. Trying to get through the winter. The weather's been funny, but truthfully, this winter has been more like a New England winter that I remember. It's been the past 2 or 3 have been almost relatively snowless in comparison, but this winter has been sort of like, oh yeah, these are the kind of winters I remember. Snow every other day and just shoveling and wet and blah and this and that, cold and Yeah. So, oh, right. To finish my thought about Texas and all that stuff, I kind of got into a rant about the people that are running the fucking place, Abbott and those other cretins. Yeah, dude, it wasn't. There is no Green Deal yet. It's an idea. It's not a thing. So you can't blame that. Texas runs off of oil and coal, and always has, and always probably will at this point, despite millions of people being not having heat. It ain't about a couple of wind turbines that froze over because you effed it up and didn't fucking deal with the infrastructure. Because it's funny how, like, up in the Arctic and in Sweden and Norway, theirs are fine and they're in sub-zero temperatures like a lot, and their turbines are still going. It's because they didn't set up shitty ones, and they know how to de-ice them and handle them in the winter. So nice try, We're gonna blame that on Obama too, or Hillary? You wearing thin, motherfucker. Anyway, here's the thing: leaders notwithstanding in Texas, there's a lot of gerrymandering that happened in Texas. So the people that are leading that state potentially shouldn't be clearly leading that state. I'd like to think that maybe there were more people in that state with more fucking brains And maybe they need to start doing something, whatever that means, to make sure this doesn't happen again. Because the people that run the place, they don't give a fuck. Abbott and those, he comes on television all bluster. Oh, you don't want to make sure this doesn't happen again. Oh, really? What are you going to do different? What are you going to do different? Somehow I haven't heard that part yet. Where it's just more fucking platitudes, like the dumpster fire we had for 4 fucking years. Lots of platitudes and nothing happens. So I feel for the people down in Texas right now, and it's easy to make fun of them. The whole thing of like, well, you got two, and listen, I was just as guilty of it until I realized the scope of of what's going on down there. They got like 2-3 inches of snow, and the highways were closed because they don't fucking have snow plows. And I basically say, well, motherfucker, go get a shovel and start shoveling yourself out. But then you look at pictures there's a picture of that was taken on the Arkansas-Texas border. Now, Arkansas, they handled their infrastructure and bought snowplows and stuff, even though, it would rarely snow there, but they had it ready. And sure enough, that one day they fucking needed it, and they got the snowplows out. They plowed the highways, and you can see the border. Like the border basically is literally the highway. One side of the highway is Arkansas, one side is Texas. The Texas side is completely snowed under. Nothing's plowed. Everything's dark and dead. On the Arkansas line, the highways are nice and clear. The stores are open. Lights are on. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Anyway, so been that kind of week, man. Just kind of seeing people suffering like that, and just the utter evil of the people who run that state, and the people that are in the GOP, the utter evil of these people to just lie on camera, like Cruz lying on camera, throwing his daughters under the bus, basically saying, I was at the airport because I was seeing my daughters off to Cancun and my wife and stuff, because what, they can't handle a fucking airport? Yeah, dude, you're lying through your fucking teeth, and you know it, and we know it. That's the worst part, because he's not that stupid. Is he? I mean, dude, it's like, we know you're a big fucking slimy liar. What are you doing? We know you're a big fucking slimy liar. So why are you playing this game? What is your end result here? Is this literally to test the system to see how fucking far you people will go before something happens, before you're fucking taken to task? Good God. I mean, it just boggles my mind. Day to day, the depths of human depravity in allowing others to suffer for a buck. In all of my days, I will never understand it. I doubt I'll ever have children to be able to tell them about these things, and to be wise and tell them these are the things you're going to have to deal with and be at peace with. Good luck with that. It's something I just can't ignore, and it's something I can't get over, because I've had people like, well, you just need to get over and get on with your life. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, it's easy to say, but there comes a point where I'm too old to again, I don't have much to worry about. I'm an older white man, so my life is going to be easy in comparison if I allow it to be. There are those who don't quite have that luxury. I have people in my family, I have people that I love, I have friends who don't have that fucking luxury, and there's nothing I can do for them apart from open my big fucking mouth. Because I certainly don't have the money to help them as I'd like. Because believe me, if I had the money, I would. That's what pisses me off, is that those younger people in my family and the people that I care for are going to inherit this horse shit, and there's nothing I can do to help them. That pisses me off. So that's why I do this. That's why I rant and rave and do it publicly now. Not just to listen to the sound of my fucking voice, because I know myself, I'm sick of my voice. However, I'm also trying to get work doing voice work. So happy irony, as much as I'm sick of the sound of my own voice, at that point, it's the only fucking asset I feel I have left. This week at work, my eyesight has certainly proven not to be very up to snuff, as it turns out. Good Lord. My, various other aspects of this water engine that we have, I get older and older. I look older and older on camera. And so right now, the only thing I got left is my voice. So we'll see. I don't know. So for the millions and thousands of people out there that I'm talking to right now, it says there's 2 people on YouTube. I don't know who's out there. If there's anybody out there, say hello in the comment section. If not, listen, even if you're the FBI or you're the YouTube police or whoever the fuck, just say hello. Just say hello. That's all. I don't care who you are. Just say hello. Just wave. YouTube police, hello. It's like I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing until you shut me down. So, my cat is just freaking out. What? Dude, calm down. I don't know. I don't know if it said he doesn't like me talking. I think that might be part of it. I don't know what it is. Anyway, there's that. So that's about a half hour of politics and ranting about this, that, and the other. That is. I don't know. What else is happening apart from me being tired? I'm getting more of a sense that potentially Saturday night is not a good night for people to come out virtually. Either that or people are just fucking tired of being online, which that I would understand for sure. They don't want to necessarily listen to slightly rotund, hairy, aging white dude talk about his mental condition for 2 hours straight. Well, like I said, if there's any moment of anything that I say that might be helpful to somebody, if my rants can be sort of like, if I can be a bit of a cheerleader for the things that should be happening, then I'll try to, if it, I certainly don't want these to just be like, hours of me being just bitching and moaning and negative and all that kind of stuff. Okay, here we go. This week, the things that happened that were good. I think that it's harder for me to remember what those things are. No, but some of the things that, like, especially regarding the Texas weather issue, you have people like AOC and Beto O'Rourke who are doing. AOC, I think they within something like 24 hours, some insane amount of money that was raised, $2.3 million that they were going to basically bring down and give out to Texas food co-ops and shelters and things to be helpful in this situation for the people that are suffering. And it's funny because AOC is she's certainly not a fucking Republican, but she's there helping. So what's wrong with Ted Cruz? What's his fucking problem? Someone put a meme out there basically saying that that's what the GOP do. When a problem happens, they ignore it and they fucking just let the Dems kind of handle it. Excuse me. I got to shut my door. My cat's freaking me out here. Hang on. Dude, you got to chill out. Come here. Just come here. Sit next to Dad. Come on. There we go. Sit there. That's all. You can be helpful. Dickling. I don't want to chair to flip over like I did last week. Just hang on. Just be here, okay? You be helpful. Helpful, boo. Want to be closer? Yeah. Whee! There we go. There we go. I think he just needs attention all the time. So, um, so this guy, he's, oops, now he's gone. um, so yeah, a couple of weeks ago, had a kind of another freak out. The cat is getting old. Um, he is, and I keep trying to figure it out in my head, but I want to say he's like 15 at this point. Oh, he be. Yeah, about 15 years old. So, that's not insubstantial for a cat. And I've had him since he was a kitten. Found him when he was 4 weeks old. He was at the university at the time. There was a very large feral cat population, and there was a specific. There was like sort of a family of them that. There was one mama who had litter after litter, and we, I think, got the last litter that she had before she was caught and fixed and then brought back. Um, and so there was a litter of three. He was one of a litter of three. And again, I think we found them, pretty young. They were about, I want to say about 4 weeks old, and that's when we took them at that point. So probably a little before they would have started weaning off mom, and so brought him in, and this one pretty much picked me, I think, and wouldn't let go. And it's just like, okay. So I've had him since he was 4 weeks old, you know, and we are 15 years later, and that's for a cat, that's substantial. So, a couple of weeks. I mean, so he's acting his age. He's old. He's getting some sicknesses and illnesses, and he's got like a pancreatitis thing that they really can't help apparently. So they I have like things that I can crush up in his food that basically help with the nausea, so that way he can eat and leave and not throw stuff up. So because that's what was happening pretty much, and he was just losing a lot of weight. So it's kind of just that fight of trying to keep him trying to feed him more, trying to get him fat again, not fat, but just adding a couple of pounds. Look, for a cat, 2 pounds is pretty significant to lose within the space of a short period of time. So so he's toward the you know he's 15 fucking years old. I can't expect him to potentially live another 4 years or whatever. I have to be sort of. So I basically wasn't. I hadn't really prepared myself for the potential, especially since it's only been 2 years. I only it's coming up on 2 years since I lost my last one. You know, and I mean, those of us who own cats and pets know it's never. Um, when we sign that contract with these little guys, and when that contract is toward the end of its life, it is what it is. Um, so basically, I was kind of forced in my head to kind of start the process of I got to start thinking about this. It could happen anytime, really. Depending on but it could potentially be wrong with him. The fact that with cats, things can happen quicker. What? What? I think he knows I'm talking about him too. Um. Anyway, so it could be any day. It could be any time. It could be, I don't know. I hope not. I mean, I'm trying to do what I can to take care of him as best as I can. But you know how things go with these. It's just a matter of time. So, and then I don't know what I'll do after that. I mean, I've always had pets. Very rarely in my life have I not had a pet. Especially if I have a place to live. But I don't know. Yeah. I think what it is that he hears me talking and he wants to sort of do what I'm doing, so he's just talking, right? But you have to be on mic, dude. You have to be over here to talk. Um So, anyway, so, yeah, so February has been kind of a topsy turvy month. And I also noticed that I don't know if I've talked about this. It's hard to say what I haven't talked about regarding my mental health stuff. The fact, so, as in my younger years, I used to like actually enjoy the winter more. I feel better in the winter in general physically, especially like with my joints and my arthritic, well, sort of arthritic things. And, the summer, I just have a harder time, keeping cool and, like that kind of thing. Um, but, well, a couple of years ago, kind of hit that ceiling with that. Whereas, there was one winter, it was pretty cold. And I just realized it's like, something, this cold sucks. Like I wasn't kind of like in that place anymore in my head of like that kind of brisk sort of winter cold whatever that I kind of that I was able to get energy from. And it's like I'm getting less of that as I get older, obviously. um but the other thing that as the years progress also is noticing the onset of affective disease, seasonal disorder. Like it's gotten better now that like after 4 o'clock or 4:30, it's light, it's getting lighter and lighter now as it gets closer and closer to spring. So like during those moments where it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and it's fucking dark out, it's like, oh God. And I just had never really noticed it before, or it had never really kind of affected me before, but I definitely notice it as I've gotten older for sure. So I don't know what that means. So basically, I hate the winter and I hate the summer. So it's just a matter of time before I hate the spring and the fall as well, right? Uh, um, Again, I'm a lucky son of a bitch to be able to bitch and moan about something as innocuous as that, I suppose. Not to make light of my own mental disorders, plural, um, because they are what they are. And hang on. I think my mic stand is starting to lose its tensionality, if that's a word. Hang on a second. No, 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 no. There we go. It's a little better. Um, so anyway, what else has been happening this week? Or, um, I mean, that's the bulk of most of everything. I mean, as far as my personal life goes and things, trying to just, we're the universe. I mean, the semester is almost a month in now, and again, covering for a number of other people's jobs that aren't my job, and still kind of being expected to kind of do a lot of work that, you know, trying to, just trying to keep a level head about it because it's one of those things, man. It's easy to have one's buttons pushed. We're all, well, me and one other person specifically are stressed out, man. And we're finding it harder, and it's just a month in, but we're finding it hard when people kind of pushing our buttons. And I don't know if it's that they understand that they don't, or they don't understand that they're pushing our buttons, or they do understand and they don't care, which, I think there's probably a 50-50 amount of the people we're thinking about. And it makes it's those kinds of things that make it difficult. you know Otherwise the work is good. you know I do a fucking damn fine job, whether I'm doing my job or someone else's. If I can do nothing but take that away, from that, just from my own sort of, I'm not one who find it very easy to toot my own horn on a lot of levels, sort of, but I've been doing a fucking damn good job, and I would appreciate some, recognition for it, me and this other person, especially once this is all over with. Because here's the thing, we have no headroom. You know, if one or both of us goes out, they're in trouble. You know what I mean? And I think that, and I don't mean it as a threat. I'm just meaning to me because of what, this is on a good day without fucking COVID hanging over our heads. This is just a mental health thing. There may come a point where one of us just says, you know something? Fuck all y'all. Take your disrespect and shove it up your ass. There's going to come a point where we're going to get over pushed, or and that's my fear, is that and it's and I hope that they're aware of our stress levels right now, because I'm not sure if some people in the situation do, or if they do, they don't care. And I'm talking the higher ups here. I'm not talking like direct supervisors or anything, because they're doing what they can to be as helpful to us as they can. It's the higher ups I think don't really know or care. Dude. You know what I mean? So I don't know. So but there it is. I have to be careful apparently about talking about my job, though. Because God forbid it gets to. But something, there comes a point, though. There has to be a fucking line in the sand, doesn't there? I'm doing my best to keep things afloat, and I'm doing a damn good job. So I just hope it means something to somebody in the higher ups, and they're keeping track of all this. It's all I'm going to say, and not just for me, but for certain other people as well. So um, other than that, I don't know. So as far as any other good stuff that happened this week, I mean, looks like my taxes have gone through, so my refunds will be coming in soon. So that's something. I'm in need of it, So the fucking stimulus hasn't fucking materialized in any way, shape, or form. So, hopefully, maybe if a stimulus is supposed to still happen in the beginning of March, between that, the taxes coming in, that I'll be able to get fucking back on my feet as far as just getting my finances caught back up. Again, so the one thing that has happened this past year that has been really difficult is that between of the finances that I've lost. Oh, dude, you're killing me here. Of the finances that I've lost, I have, I basically screwed my credits in the dumper again. I mean, I'm sure, again, I'm not the only one. I'm sure of that. Just to pay the bills and try and keep as updated, or as up to date as I possibly can. But it's difficult when you're that far down. All the savings are gone. Certain income is not there. Money lost from last year. It all sort of adds up. So I gotta. The harder part of this is just finding the time and the energy to do the things I want to do, as usual, like cleaning the house, just hanging around playing with my records, and or doing production work or audio work, or recording or whatever. What I find is difficult is because I know I've got to go back to work on Monday morning, and they're long days, so it basically I don't have any time to do anything I really want to do. By the time I get home, I'm fucking shattered, and it's impossible to focus for 2.5 days. So even though I might have like a half day on Friday to do the kind of work that I do, especially when it comes down to, writing, or, recording and performing and stuff, trying to find the focus to do it in 2.5 days, and knowing that you're going to have to pull the hell out of it. It's not tenable, man. It's hard to do. I find it harder to do. I used to be able to be more flexible as I was younger. I could do that easier. I just find it really, really fucking difficult these days. The month off I had in December, I was able to get some stuff done. And I started chit chatting online, to the millions and millions of people out there. Um, so that's kind of where I find my head, and again, it's just difficult. I know it is what it is, and it's kind of the corner I've painted myself into a little bit, and it's partially my fault, for sure. So, but that's another place I found myself in 2 weeks ago. I was just feeling really lamenting my current state of affairs, and it's not what I really wanted to be doing when I was 56 years old. I think I had other plans. I had other ideas I had other, you know, I turned 56 on January 28th, and it's not. I mean, it's a significant enough birthday in that I'm on the slide down to 60, right? And it's just not where I really wanted to be when I was 56. That being said, I never thought I'd even make 56. So there you go. There's that. I don't know. I truthfully didn't think I'd last. I truthfully never thought I would hit 40 and or survive beyond 40 years old. Way back in my 20s and 30s. Um, I don't know. I guess that's what happens when you don't plan that far ahead, and I really hadn't planned this far ahead, to be honest. But now I'm here, and you know, I might as I guess the idea is that I've gotten to the point where it's like, well, I might as well I might as well do something of positive consequence, whether it's just for my own self or for others or both or whatever. Work notwithstanding. Um, so I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to nail all the pieces together that could potentially create a whole other ecosystem for myself, if that makes sense. Um, it's going to take some time for sure. You know, um, you know, again, turned 56 January 28th. This past Monday, the February 15th, I will have been at my current position at the university for 19 years. Right. Um, that's a long time for me to be anywhere in any job that I've ever done, for that long. That's unprecedented, you know. So I think probably it's safe to say I'll be, I mean, under the assumption that I'm not shit canned or the job is downsized or whatever the hell it might be, that I make 20 in a year. 20, I'd like to be able to hit my 20th, and kind of, I really have to make some major decisions at that point because I don't know what they are. I don't really don't know what my future holds, to be honest. I really don't. The problem is, I mean, I'd like to, I think I have a rosy picture of how I would like it to look, and I'm trying to put that energy out there as best as I can. And that's the hard part, is finding the energy to put the energy out. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Um, I know. Oh my God. Okay, drama queen. What? Um. Uh. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. That's kind of just where every week I find myself chatting about what I'm doing next. What I'm doing next. Well, one of the things I definitely want to do is I want to do some writing. I would like to. I have an idea with a friend to write a screenplay of all things. Why the fuck not? Why? I mean, literally nothing to lose. Um, obviously finishing the things I want to finish musically and the projects I want to do. That's a whole other kettle of fish, but but I also, again, it's just finding the time to ratchet up that energy, you know. Um, I guess the question would be, I mean, there's nobody here to comment on it, but question, I would, if there were people up here, I'd say, well, what do you all do to get yourself you get your energy up to do projects or whatever, away from work. I mean, um, yeah, I guess I just find it hard to shift the way I used to be able to shift gears. They're older and rustier, and how do you mitigate that when you're 56? I don't know. Well, one thing you do is you drink zero sugar root beer. Yeah, you drink it messily like it's the last beer you're ever going to drink. But it is the best soda ever, like just ever. Anyway, I don't know. So, other good things that may have happened this week. Hmm. Well, as far as I know, I don't have COVID. The 2 tests that I have every week, which is the one good thing about the school right now. So as of right now, I don't have COVID. I don't think. I have other maladies that I currently take something like, I don't know, 15 different prescriptions for this, that, or the other to keep me alive. That's another thing too. It's like, my God, is this something? I mean, it's a feature of getting older, I guess. And you hear that? Dude, calm down. He's really vocal tonight. I'm not sure why. He's just being a little pest. Um, well, he would rather I just be sitting on the chair so he could just sit down and do stuff, But I think he's got a little bit of. I think he's it's been cold and rainy, snowy. It's winter, so he usually goes out. If it's warm enough and the sun is out, he wants to be outside. Both of my cats, or pretty much any of my cats, for the most part, have been outdoor cats too, like outdoor indoor. Um, and he went outside for a little bit today because the sun actually was out for a bit and got a little bit warmer, so I was able to get him outside a little bit. But I think he's a little, I think he's got a little bit of cabin fever for sure. So he's probably going a little stir crazy. Myself, I mean, I don't go out and do a hell of a lot. However, I do brave the elements being COVID and go to my local record stores and things because I kind of just need to do that. There's no point, and there's so little else that we can do. I mean, movies are out. I try to really limit any time going to any kind of major stores other than grocery stores. Even then, or restaurants or I'm trying as best as possible to stay away from those places. I go to my local Walgreens, obviously, because of I have my prescriptions and things. Though I could probably start using the drive-in through for that potentially, but I don't know. What little I do, and things like record stores. It's like I got to keep I got to keep what's left of my sanity somehow. So. So I did score a nice. My friend Chris Zing in up at In Your Ear Records. They've got a store up in Warren, Rhode Island, on the main street, but they've opened up sort of like a secondary store a little further down the road on Water Street. And I went there for their grand opening today, and it's a nice little place. And they're working on getting the stuff up there and getting stuff in and getting the stock going. And sure enough, hey man, I found a couple of nice items. Excuse me. One of which was Procol Harum's first album on the Darum label with the intact full poster. that came with the original first, I think, just first pressing of it. So really nice shape, really nice cover, good record, a nice clean vinyl, and you can tell that the poster had been taped to a wall. You can see some tape marks in the back, but there's no pinholes. So yeah, so that was a nice little find, actually. I do a lot there. I do a lot of my record buying is definitely on. So a lot of it's online lately. What I do locally between Newbury Comics and In Your Ear. I try to go at least once a week to some one of them. Just because even if I don't buy anything, I mean, there's always things I'm looking for, but it's just I just need that's always been a part of my mental health is just going to a record store and just flipping through, kind of being mindless, but looking for that's been me forever. Um, since I was like 12. Okay, what are you gonna say now? Yeah, no, he's just doing his thing, dude. You had supper. You had two suppers, as a matter of fact. See, now he wants a treat. Is what he wants. He says, "Where are my treats, motherfucker?" Um. Anyway, so another feature of things that I would do potentially up here while I'm up doing what I'm doing, um, and I could do this a couple of ways. But I would sort of trawl. Sometimes I would. I mean, I guess the only problem with this feature is that if I trawl Facebook while I'm doing this, um, but so here's the thing. How do I ignore this post here? My parents use Griddy, which is the Texas power grid, and immediately realized their electric bill was skyrocketing. So they shut everything down. They had power throughout the entire storm and aftermath, but still sat there in the freezing cold for days because they couldn't afford to turn on the heat. Gritty customers face $5,000 electric bills for 5 freezing days in Texas. I learned a lot about the Texas electric power market writing this story. So uh, it would be so easy to turn off this. To turn Facebook off. I mean, they clearly don't want me on their platform anyway because I'm a troublemaker, right? Clearly, Instagram is going the same way. This is pretty funny. So why do people take such an instant disliking to Ted Cruz? It saves time. And then these are quotes about Ted Cruz. I like Ted Cruz more than most of my other colleagues like Ted Cruz, and I hate Ted Cruz. Woo! Wow, is another one. If you killed a Ted Cruz on the floor of the Senate and the trial was in the Senate, nobody would convict you. Wow, that was Lindsey Graham said that 5 years ago this month. Wow. I mean, can you fucking just man, that's the funny side of it, at least. It's like, so I mean, this motherfucker is just like, you know, there goes the moon. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. um yeah, see. It's this kind of thing. Again, these are things I can't ignore. An 11-year-old boy just froze to death in an unheated Texas mobile home. 46% of Americans say they're having serious financial problems. Yep. 63% of Americans say they've been living paycheck to paycheck since COVID. Meanwhile, Republicans are fighting tooth and nail against President Biden's relief plan. So, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And so then here's also Living Blue in Texas. She has now raised AOC has now raised $3.2 million and is down here working the food banks when our senators are doing nothing. She's not even a fucking senator of Texas. She's a New York senator, right? I mean, no one would have if she had never set foot in this crisis down there. No one would have batted an eyelash. But this is that person. That's who she is. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. So this is for you conspiracy theory people. The sighting captured in this footage take place in a wilderness area along Colorado's Front Range. Think it's legit. Ooh, okay. Here's something interesting. See, this is the thing that I like about the internets sometimes, is that you can find shit like this. Which is actually kind of compelling. See, there's a clip. No, there's not that. It's only going to be the first time of the mysterious creature. Let me see. I said it actually doesn't show the damn clip, does it?
I'm Keith Hoffman, Finding Bigfoot. I was a bit of a skeptic. I'm going to show you some of our strongest evidence that made me reconsider my position on Bigfoot. This 8mm footage from Colorado might be the first recorded footage of Bigfoot ever. It was taken back in 1962 when everyone wasn't walking around carrying cameras. It was recorded by a dad accompanying a Boy Scout group camping in the Rockies. And this creature is walking across the snow, and then it turns and looks at the camera. I mean, if I were them, I would have been freaked out. You can see this creature's left arm going up in the air as it jumps from rock to rock, as if it's trying to balance himself. Is he trying to keep his big feet out of the snow? They must get cold. Or is he trying to hide his tracks? Bigfoots are very stealthy. I gotta give this dad credit. I mean, all right, the footage is black and white and it's grainy, but come on, it's 50 years old and it's better than a lot of footage I've seen come across my desk. The team is divided on this. Cliff is fairly certain this is a Bigfoot, but Renee can't rule out it's just a hiker who's jumping from rock to rock.
Well, if we don't know the depth of the snow, I mean, if I'm a hiker in the backcountry, I'm gonna jump on the rocks to stay out of deep snow. So we can't just make that leap that that's what was going on.
So could this have been a hoax? Could the adults have been playing a joke on the Boy Scouts? I guess so, but you have to remember in those days, you had to develop footage. You couldn't just show it to them instantly. So that's a pretty long...
So, Bigfoot footage. But that's interesting if that is that old. I would have thought that wouldn't have been the oldest. Footage of Bigfoot. I thought it was the very famous footage there. Oh, yeah. So here's one. Solar panels don't work in the cold. This is the International Space Station. Those are solar panels. Outer space is minus 454.81 degrees Fahrenheit. It's been in outer space for 23 years, running on solar energy. Fox News rots your brain. Yup, yes, it does. And the GOP are part of that rot. Yeah, dude, they are. Maybe my cat's, yeah, Jesus. I wonder if my cat's Republican. Jesus Christ, that would suck. And yes. Final summation of the Ted Cruz saga. He only came back after he was caught and learned of outrage. He then blamed his daughters and lied that he was always returning the next day. He only came clean on that when he learned the NYT had wife's texts. Number 4, he left his dog. So that's an interesting wrinkle that I hadn't brought up, is the fact that his disease of a wife there texted some friends saying, "Oh, you should meet us in Cancun and make a party out of it," right? And apparently some of those friends said, "Are you people fucking mental?" and leaked the texts. That's what we need a little more of, to be honest, because Yeah, because that's it's just not heinous enough. Here's a pretty good meme. So what we're seeing is empty shelves in Texas. Texas 2021. Everything the rich say about the failures of socialism happens under capitalism. Only worse. We have no health care, no guaranteed housing, no guaranteed unemployment. They point to bread lines as a sign of failure, while 50 million Americans face hunger without even the option of a bread line. Well, that's about right. Sometimes a meme can, you know, can say a lot, right? So um, yeah, this is a good one actually. Texas pro tip: turn off auto pay and disconnect debit cards tied to your power bills before they drain your bank account. That's true. Don't pay your fucking bills. Fuck that shit. All right. I got to go deal with my cat because he's kind of pissing me off now. He's just being annoying. Hang on one second. Dude, you got to stop. You got to stop. You got to stop. You're being fast. Oh my god. He is being needy as shit today. Okay, I'm gonna knock. See, this is what I did last week. I knocked this over. Why are you being weird? Okay. Okay, let's try this again, shall we? Everything's falling apart here. The fuck. Okay. I'm sure the cat's gonna continue at some point. But anyway. So another unfortunate anniversary was tonight. Was 18 years ago. Was the Station nightclub fire in West Warwick, where 100 people perished. It's hard to comment on that because again, it runs into politics. I mean, big fucking surprise, right? The fact that there were people that went to jail who, well, to put it this way, there were people that needed to go to jail and didn't in that situation. And there's a book out that just came out. I'm actually interested in reading about everything that led up to that. And I remember where I was living in Tiverton at the time. I was only about a year in living into where I was at that time. And I remember getting a phone call the day after, from my mother at the time, wondering if I was okay. So you have to understand that West Warwick is my hometown. That building that the station nightclub used to be many, many other things. One of which, specifically when I was growing up, was a place called Papa Brillo's. It was a, kind of an ersatz American Italian restaurant with, crappy pizza and pasta and stuff. My brother worked there as a chef, as a cook. We went there often. So, we were in that building, and it had been many, many different things. Oh, my cat is pissing me off. God damn it. Anyway, so the day after that happened, she calls and goes, are you okay? It's just like, why wouldn't I be? I think that there was, my mom was a little kind of addled. I think because of the West Warwick connection, And you know, I mean, it was a rock and roll place. So, and at the time, I mean, we're talking what 13. I'm sorry, 18 years ago. Um, how old was I? I'm starting not to remember. I mean, I was 30 something, whatever the hell it was. You know. But even then, by 30 something, I didn't really hit nightclubs much at that point. You know, it would have been, I like put it this way, I would not have been going to a club to see Great White. Kind of not my thing, you know. That said, I knew people that were there that got out, thankfully. But that was one of those situations I remember as the, you know, as the days went by and they started identifying the people that had perished. And it was like, you know, so, you know, it was like that game of, you know, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's just like you know, it was only, you know, it was 100 people in a small community. It was West Warwick and the sort of surrounding area there. And you knew somebody who died. You know, or was injured or whatever, or, you know, or you know what I mean? It was that kind of thing. And there was a lot, it's one of those things that definitely reverberates because that was, you know, it was a small, tight community. And again, I think what's just tragic about that is that that place was allowed to exist at the time that it was. It was the building should have been torn down like years and I mean, you know, decades ago. That you know the place had a history, and of course the rules regarding fire safety in this, not just this state but probably many states, you know, where you grandfather stuff, you grandfather buildings in. So you know, the building didn't have a sprinkler system. It there was highly flammable soundproofing because of, you know, that building was near residents, and so there was lots of complaints for noise, of course, because it was a rock and roll club. So they tried to do their best to make it this soundproof place by putting up highly flammable foam like on the ceilings and the walls. It's like the stupidest fucking thing ever. That, you know, that was ever sanctioned by the local fire people who were clearly paid off to sort of look askance at that. I mean, you know what? That's what happens. You know, that's pretty much what happens. It's all for a buck. It's all people suffering for a buck. That's, you know, welcome to America, right? That's pretty much the. I don't know. You know, it just kind of is. It's just one of those things. Yeah, it's one of those tragedies that's just going to reverberate and reverberate, and it just it's hard to, even this, you know, 18 years later, it's hard to fathom, you know. And you know, especially, and I don't know, you know, it put it this way, it's probably up on YouTube somewhere too, but like the newscaster that happened to be there filming when it happened and filmed the entire thing, filmed it when it started, backed away when he saw the place was starting to burn down, backed out, got out, and then saw the place just go up within minutes. Like the videotape is 11 minutes long. And it's, you know what I mean? It's like in real time. I've seen the whole thing from top to bottom. It's 11 minutes long. And you see how quickly in 11 minutes that place was engulfed. It's, you know, you get it can, it's an awe, it's sort of like an awe, not inspiring, but it's like the 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 confluence of things for that to have happened, to be able to, like, all of the perfect storm of those things for that to happen. um you know, it's just one of those things that, like, I don't know, it's just awful. I mean, it's awful to watch. I don't necessarily recommend anybody go and watch it, but you know, if nothing else, just as a physics lesson of how fire works and can be deadly. Well, yeah, maybe that alone, you know, is reason to watch it, I suppose. Um, I'm just, you know, like I said, I'm still just. Someone commented here. Um, oh, okay, someone actually did comment regarding the fire. Um, I appreciate Godfrey Fontaine. I do appreciate that. I'm not going to show it on my show, But I'll make the your message available for people to see. I'll have to go and check it out myself and go from there. Yeah, I mean it's not a lot to say. There really is not a lot to say. Um, I just remember it was like, again, just my memories of the thing. I just remember it being. It was like I don't remember if there was notes about it at the. No, I think there was. As a matter of fact, that's right. The night it happened. That's right. I was watching the news, so I did see the live report about it, and then it was the next day that my mom had called about whether I was safe or not. This is like, of course I'm safe. I was not there. Um, um, yeah. Yeah, there's really no words. There's really no words to describe that particular tragedy, which was again 18 years, probably to the minute. Uh, um, this day. Um. Anyway, so someone just left again. Someone left a comment on their YouTube channel. There's a video on the fire that he had made. Now, again, I don't know. I haven't seen this. I'll leave it to people who want to go and check it out. If it's I'm not going to play it here now, obviously on YouTube, but I'll make it available or just informationally that it is out there. There are plenty of videos out there about um, you know about the aftermath, about when the fire was actually out and how they were able to recover people from the burned building. Yeah. Here's something interesting. So something from generic Concordia. It's hard to know if that's real or not. We'll see. This may not be real. God knows. Because clearly not everything online is real. But it says, when I was 18 years old, I was in the Los Angeles Times talking about the Asian American experience from the youth perspective. Rush, being Rush Limbaugh, said on his national broadcast that I was a confused child and that my experience with being othered and having a community that wanted to help me embrace and understand my experience from a Filipino and Asian American lens was what was wrong with the country. A little more than a decade later, my mom operated on him, and he didn't want any staff of color in his recovery room. He's dead. I hope his hate goes with him. Yeah. That's about right. That's about right. Yep. Here's another one. This is pretty funny. I think that's Usama. I think that's spelled wrong. I'm not sure. Usama bin Laden had a better books to guns ratio than Lauren Biebert. That's funny. There are times when memes just make you laugh because they can, all right. So for those geeky fans out there, one thing that I think a lot of us have been watching is WandaVision. If you haven't, if you are a Marvel Universe fan, then I'm preaching to the choir. If you've seen all the Marvel Universe films, all 23 of them, however many other of them there are, and now with Disney on Disney Plus, there is the now Marvel TV universe, starting with WandaVision, which so far has been crazy good. And of course, I don't want there to be spoilers, but it's become appointment television because they didn't put all of the episodes up to binge all at once, which I think was smart. I think that was really, really smart because I think a lot of current TV shows are doing that. And I'm not saying I don't like it when they do this, because I would, I don't mind a binge for sure, but I think it's important that the way they're doing this is really, it's ginning up a lot of attention. And every week it's like, okay, the new episode's out. What's it gonna, what's in the new episode, and so of course this past week's episode has been a pretty and the week goes by and all these theories and people and talking about this, so there's a lot of it had already been kind of sort of like hinted at, and these things. Again, I'm not going to get into it for those who haven't started watching it or whatever. But if you're into the Marvel universe, WandaVision, I think, is a good start to the next phase after the end game phase. And there's a number of things coming up that look really, really interesting to see where they're going to go with all the heroes and the Avengers and stuff like that. So if you have not watched it, I do recommend it. If you do not have Disney Plus, and as of right now, that's the only reason I've got Disney Plus. It's not because I want to watch the cartoons, though I might. I'm paying for it, but I'm paying for it because of the Marvel universe, and the Star Wars universe is up there as well. Which again, I'm not as interested, truthfully, in the Star Wars universe as much as I am, they say, the Star Trek universe. And the Marvel universe. So for the geeks out there, for sure, I think you are missing something really special happening. COVID notwithstanding, things like that certainly help get us through it for sure. And the fact that they've been able to do such a great piece so far over the past year throughout all of this is pretty amazing to me. I mean, you can tell that there's probably a lot of it that can be done. It doesn't have to be like, not everybody has to be in the same room with each other. They've done it in a really clever way. And, yeah, here he comes. Here comes the cat. Come on, dude. Hey, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come here. Come here. You beast. All right. You going to be quiet when I talk? You just need me to hold you? Is that what it is? Huh? Or what? You want to talk? What do you want to do? Yeah. Just is in such need of attention. My goodness. Anyway. So here's another interesting one. When your political party's idea of freedom means that you are free to freeze to death in the middle of the street because gas companies were free from weatherizing regulations, it's time to reevaluate your party's logic and morals. No kidding, huh? Yeah. What else is there? Sorry, I'm trolling Facebook Live. How fascinating, huh? Yeah. Um, oh, okay. Here comes a fairly complicated meme, but I'm going to do it. Capitalists will literally be like, it's cheaper to address homelessness by installing hostile architecture and hoping they all die rather than giving them a place to live. And bootlickers will be like, sounds good to me. And studies will be like, no, it literally is cheaper to give them a place to live than do other shit. And bootlickers will be like, sounds fake. More often, they'll be like, but you can't just give them something for free. They need to die of exposure like responsible adults. The last one is it. You can show them the research demonstrating that it will be cheaper, and they'll say, literally, have said that giving them something before they earned it is in some way immoral. How twisted is that, man? As a species, that's how we think of people. Unreal. Hmm. Oh, you know something? Earlier, I realized I had said AOC was a senator. She's not a senator. She's a congresswoman. I sometimes get those two mixed up because I'm not smart. Yeah, well, I did warn people that I might just stare at you for 2 hours. I did. Hmm. Other people are chatting also online about the fire. Hmm. It sounds like somebody's murdering my cat, man. Dude, seriously, gotta calm the fuck down. Okay, so what? Some other people are what? Some what? Let me try that again. What some other people are talking about as well is this is also an unfortunate anniversary back from 2014. So wow, it's already 7 years. Where camera assistant actress was basically run over by a train while doing while on a set, whose directors and producers decided that they were going to put people in harm's way once again for a buck. Um, and it's like, you can't make this shit up. That hmm. Mm. Mm. Yeah, that's just fucking awful. More awfulness, especially when you're just trying to do something fun, make a film, make a movie, and people do stupid shit and allow people to put themselves in harm's way. Um, well, yeah. So I don't know. Um, I'll just do one more thing here on Facebook and then go somewhere else. Let's see. Um, sort of just trying to. Okay, this might be pretty funny because I've never heard this one before. It says, when the Traveling Wilburys tried to write a Prince song. What? Hmm. Apparently, a song on the first Traveling Wilburys record called "Dirty World." It was because Bob Dylan said, "Let's do one like Prince." That's pretty funny. Anyway, yeah. So I'm just doing stupid shit here online here. Um. hmm. Let me see. Yeah, it just goes to show there's not a hell of a lot here on Facebook that's worthy of attention, and yet somehow we're attracted to it, right? Um, it's unfortunate that it's these kinds of you know things for someone who's a slightly obsessive compulsive. I Okay, this is interesting, actually. Why did they do that? That's so stupid. Um, hmm. Copyright strike. What is going on? Oh, yeah. So apparently, fucking YouTube strikes again. So fucking stupid. Um, for those of you who are Monkeys fans, again, all the thousands of you that I'm talking to, um, know who Andrew Sandoval is, who is a producer, um, who at this point is pretty much the preeminent Monkeys historian in much the same way that Mark Lewison is the preeminent Beatles historian. Um, and he is in the process of, well, yeah, pretty much in the process of rewriting a book he had written called The Monkeys Day by Day. But he, over the past year, has found all this other new information. So basically, rewrote the book from scratch and reformatted it and all that, and is making it available in a very, very limited edition. And apparently, the email confirmations for reservations were shut down for being spam, and somehow that then translated into his it's called beetlelandbooks.com, of being shut down on YouTube, which is like, what the fuck is wrong with seriously, like, what is wrong with these fucking platforms, man? It's like they're just making it just harder and harder to just do anything. So anyway, here's just a little hint of it. Here's Beetleland Books, which is it's basically about Andrew Sandoval and the work he has done and you can reserve your book here at Beetleland Books. I think you can. Anyway, there it is. I've already reserved mine. You can reserve the book, which is coming out probably in June. They are receiving reservations until March 15th only. There are three versions. Three versions? Yeah, three versions. There's three versions: a super deluxe edition for $225, a deluxe edition for $175, and an open edition for $75. And they basically will send before it's not really a pre-order, but it looks to be like they're only doing like literally 1,000 books, and it's like he's really making this as um it's about as limited edition as you can get. And yeah. um So anyway, yeah. So if you're a Monkeys fan and you are interested in this book, I think you would want to go here to reserve it. So I'm going to play a YouTube clip where he talks about it because why not? I'm going to make it a little bigger.
One, two, three. One, two, three, four.
Hey there, I'm Andrew Sandoval. I'm the author of this book on the Monkeys, The Monkeys Day by Day Story from 2005. I'm also the author of this newly expanded and updated and completely rewritten book of the same title, which will be available directly from me and my company called Beetland Books in a matter of a few weeks. It's now going to be open for you to make a reservation. Let me tell you a little bit about the book, which this original book runs 304 pages, and the new one runs well over 700 pages. We're just finishing the layout now, or else I'd give you the exact amount of pages. But needless to say, there's a lot of new information that I found. It includes all of the Monkees recording sessions, the personnel who play on all of the sessions, the engineers, producers, unpublished interviews I did over the last 30 years with the Monkees, as well as unpublished photos. And it just really digs deep into all kinds of things they did: concert appearances, radio appearances, other television shows outside of the series, series shooting dates for the movie Head, shooting dates for, or taping dates rather, for the television special 33 1/3 Revolutions for Monkees, some of the dates when they filmed their Kool-Aid commercials in 1969-70, and then also getting into the year 1970, which it ends with, recording dates for Michael Nesmith and the First National Band's wonderful trilogy of albums that were all made that year. And the reason why the book is so expanded is because I found a tremendous amount of new information specifically for the year 1967, which is the most important year in their history. Don Kirshner was fired by Screen Gems and got into an altercation with the Monkees would be the best way of putting it. And there was a sort of a power struggle, and he ended up suing Screen Gems and the creators of the Monkees, Ray Bird, who were Bob Rafelson and Bert Schneider. And in doing so, created this paper trail of affidavits and depositions relating to the formation of the Monkees and the stories behind why they decided to branch out and be a group themselves. They were deposed in May of 1967, and I managed to track down these depositions in addition to more than 2,000 pages worth of documents just before COVID hit. And now I've been trapped in this room that I'm sitting in now. Not the most luxurious space that I've ever been in, but I have been here toiling away for more than a year at getting the story all down on paper. Originally, I was just going to update this book and kind of get it back out because it's been out of print for more than a decade. But when I got all this new information in and I tried to integrate it into the spaces that I had, I found that it wasn't possible. So I had to start afresh and really then opened up the door to finding out a lot about their early history that I didn't know. I go into details here about the Monkees and their childhood and their schooling and Mickey's career in Circus Boy, and then follows on to Michael Nesmith becoming a folk singer with a folk group, and Davy Jones being on Broadway, and Mickey Dolenz getting into music himself, and Peter Tork, of course, touring around with a band called the Phoenix Singers and playing a lot of large venues. And eventually we get into the period where Bob Rafelson and Bert Schneider get the money and funding to do a pilot show. In the meantime, Davy Jones is on Colpix, and there's a pilot script that's written by Paul Mazursky and Larry Tucker, and you get to see the story. This is the original ad for the Monkees, not just from a point of view of the words that I have, which go in depth and have unpublished interviews I did with them over the last 30 years, and by them I mean Michael Nesmith, Davy Jones, Peter Tork, and Mickey Dolenz. But you also get a visual impact of their story. For instance, this section here on the pilot has a number of unpublished photos, but also the panels, as opposed to just a regular book like this, they fold out. So you can see even more photos in one passage without breaking up the flow of the book. And the book itself, as you can see, as opposed to this one, which is black and white and has some nice things in it, is full color. And so wherever I have beautiful color photos, you will see them. And I'm really proud of this new book. And what I want you to do, if you are interested in getting a book and finding out more about it, is go to beatlandbooks.com and reserve a book if it moves you. And the book is more expensive than the original book. This book was distributed widely. They made about 15,000 copies of this book. And I don't think that I'm going to be making more than about 1,000 copies of my new book. And I also, the weight of the book, the quality of the book, and everything else, I didn't want to compromise it. If I went to a publisher, they told me I'd have to cut out about 300 pages worth of information. So the alternative is to bring it directly to you myself and invest in it myself. And I'm not asking for any pre-order money or anything else. I just want to know, honestly, if you want to reserve a book. And if you do want to reserve a book, you sign up at beatlandbooks.com, register your interest there with your address, so we can also figure out the postage, because in this day and age, postage has gone up quite a bit, and we can't guarantee that we can give free postage to people outside of the United States. And we want to know exactly where the books are going and how we can get them there, and have a real plan, so that the books will take about 3 months to produce in total. And just before they're ready for delivery, we will send out an invoice, and you will be billed if you decide to pick up your reservation. And if you don't, then you may miss out on getting the book. A lot of the books, a lot of the projects I've done in recent years for Rhino, we made limited edition projects, and what happened was people either missed out on the pre-order, which is why I'm doing this reservation thing. So anybody who wants a book will be able to get one. It won't be sold out immediately. And secondarily, I want them to go to the fans, because what happens is there's a lot of speculators, and like even the book that I just showed you, my old one, is out of print, and it goes for way more than the original cover price. And these box sets, like the Birds, Bees, and the Monkeys Super Deluxe box set, which I did about 10 years ago, now they're $400 or $500 when originally they were $60. So I want you to pick up the book yourself rather than buy it from a third party, and I want you to get the best deal. But it is going to be more expensive because there are far fewer books being made, and it's a far larger project than has ever been tried with any of the other Monkeys books. So check out beatlandbooks.com. I'll be giving you more updates here and keeping you posted on the various things. I'll show you the manufacturing process as much as I can, and also share with you bits and pieces, do some side-by-side comparisons with the books, and show you some archival documents that I'm working with. I hope you've enjoyed this sort of intro into what I'm about to bring you, and that you'll join me on this journey with the Monkeys and their day-by-day story. Thanks.
That's fun. So I just found out that the person that is online with me here, Godfrey Fontaine, is actually an old bandmate and friend of mine. I'm going to say your name there. His name is Don Lamlin, who now lives in Australia and is retired. Who I did a number of. We used to be rehearsal room buddies with a number of different people. We again were in a band called Blackbird 13 at one point. At the time, we were in a rehearsal place in Coventry, Rhode Island, for many years, and I was in a band called First Noon Improved, and then we turned into Curio. Blackbird 13 was the other band that we kind of split the rent of the space and used the use of the space. I ended up sort of defecting, I think, from Curio to Blackbird 13 for a fairly brief period, but we did a little EP cassette that actually was one of the funner musical experiences. I think I did a good album with Curio down in that rehearsal space, and we did a good EP with Blackbird 13 when I was in the band, and then we didn't do it. I think I did maybe 1 or 2 gigs with them, and then I don't know what I did at that point. I think I don't know. I was kind of all over the place in those days, so God knows I was kind of jumping from this, that, and the other. But we also did this thing called the Avant Guardians, which was Don's brainchild, and it was very, very politically kind of motivated as well. And we did two cassettes of that particular aggregate. The second of which had some political stuff, but also had some sort of songs that were kind of geared towards children, oddly enough. So there was like an interesting kind of juxtaposition there. So it was, this is interesting to kind of hear. So he says he's living in Southern Australia now. So let's see, Southern Australia. It's officially, what is it, 9:20? So it's officially Sunday there. Sunday, probably what, mid afternoon, something like that. And so this is one of those things that I like doing, the chatting thing online like this, because I like to I like to be able to chat with folks out there in the world. And what's okay? Godfrey said it's 1 p.m. in Australia right now, so that's, yeah, we're talking, is that 15, 18 hours, something like that? Yeah, I don't know. But it's good to it's the one thing I like about Facebook and being online. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans, as John Lennon said. And one tends to, unfortunately, sometimes lose track with people that you care about, or people that you worked with, or friends that you did a lot of things with. And it's good to kind of keep it's a good way to keep track, and being and be able to say hi. And so it's a lovely happenstance that here I am chatting from Rumford, Rhode Island, in my house with a verbose cat who has, I think, probably calmed down. Has probably got tired. He's probably sleeping out there. But so hopefully people kind of tune in or whatever. And so it's nice to be able to see and hear from somebody that I haven't seen and or heard from in a while. I think the last time I saw you, I think you might have come to one of my open mics back, a few years back there. I'm not sure when you moved to Australia, but I think that was the last time I saw you, if I remember correctly. But one of the things I had been talking about that I've been up to and trying to do is looking at old, um, looking at old things that I old projects that I've been a part of, whether they were solo projects or other projects, Meatballs Fluxus, of course. But along with that, curio, and I'd like, I want to make some a nice digitization of the stuff I did with Blackbird. Again, I thought that the EP we did there was is one of the better things that I feel like I record. That I recorded for sure. Yeah, I forget. I'm trying to remember which venue it was. Which open mic it was. I think it might have been the oh shoot, I don't remember. It was one of the later ones though. It was one of the last open mics I had done. I know it was after the apartment. It was at but it was one of the Providence ones. The Squirrel. Shit, what the hell was the name of the place? It was a number of different places. It was the Dirty Squirrel, not the Dirty Squirrel, the fuck, what the hell was it called? The something Squirrel is what it was called. And I was doing I want to say Sunday nights there. If I remember correctly. Was it Sunday or was it Saturday? No, I think it was Sunday. And yeah, I did that for a while, and then they shut me down because they wouldn't they had started it at the start of at the start of the summer. And summers were always notoriously sort of bad for open mics because people, they were going out, like to be outside kind of thing. Like they didn't really want to go to a club. But I open mics work better in like around this time of year, at least up here. Like fall, winter, spring, and then summer they kind of fall off. So they started that open mic in like the beginning of the summer, and so it was slow. And we told them, it's like, look, you got to like see this through, and they didn't want to see it through, and it only lasted for a few months, and then they kind of shut it down, which was kind of a bummer. But yeah, I think that was the last one we saw you at. So at some point, so this is a good impetus for me, I think, to go find the Blackbird 13 record we did, and with Bob and everybody, and just put it up online or something. I think that's one of the things I'm trying to do, is just kind of I'd like to make just a band camp that has like a bunch of stuff up there, and if everybody from the band is amenable to have the stuff up, and just have it up there, have it available if people want it or not, or they can listen to it if again at this point I no longer have uh, I no longer have delusions of making a lot of money from my music or any of the things that I've been a part of over the years. Um, I think those of us that have been in the music business for a long time, that are that still have a day job or whatever it might be, kind of lost that sort of ideal to a certain degree. Um, Not the ideal, but you know what I mean. I think that sort of ambition kind of loses traction, I think is the word I'm looking for. It loses traction. I mean, it is what it is. You have to kind of get along. You have to kind of just move along in life and kind of do the things you got to do, especially to pay your bills. That's kind of where I'm at as far as things in general. One has to pay the bills. However, I always would like to honor and the work that I did with people, and I mainly because I was mostly the sound engineer and producer of a lot of these records. Of course, I still have the master tapes for them. Now the Blackbird 13 record, that was done on the little Fostix 4-track, if I remember correctly. Is that right? Was that done on the 4-track or was that done on the 8-track? I don't remember now, to be honest. I'm trying to remember the timeline of I'm trying to think here. Don, do you remember the EP that we did? Was that the 4-track? Yeah, okay. That was on the Fostix 4-track, right? Okay. I'm losing. I know I bought that first 8-track Fostix I had. I want to say it was in 1988, but I also know that I'm pretty sure that's the year I was in the band. So there must have been like one thing must have followed the other, I guess. I don't know. So I don't know. Actually, I mean, when I think about it, maybe that was the last thing that I actually did on that Fostix 4-track. But it came out good. Some of the things that I did with Curio, so they still sound pretty good considering, that like they don't they have no business sounding as good as they do, which is pretty funny. I know, right? Yeah, that little Rick Fostix was a little workhorse, man. That was a godsend back in the 80s for sure. But then Fostix 8-track, and shit, man, I used that thing until, I mean, really, we're talking 3-4 years ago. Well, maybe a little longer, maybe 5-6 years ago when I think about it. Actually, what was my last record on that 8-track? Trying to think of the 8-track now. I think the last record I did on that was Marilyn Mayer's. I may be making this up, but I think it was Marilyn Mayer's classical recording, I want to say, because we graduated. No, that's not true. It was one of Marilyn Mayer's records, but it was one of the later ones. And I don't remember which record it was, which album it was, but then I graduated to a 16-track at one point, a Fostix, and made a couple of records on that until that shit the bed. And then so then from there, kind of forced my hand. I ended up, just becoming pretty much all digital for the most part. And, yeah, you had the TAC 4. I want to say the Avant Guardians was also the Fostix, I want to say. But again, yeah, God knows I'm the memory of those days is fucking as faulty as as anything. The time is that's aging for you. I have a general idea of like where I was at any given point in the 80s, especially, but it's like the ensuing years kind of slowly kind of chop up those memories into a mulch, and it just becomes this kind of all-consuming glue that I have a basic idea of what happened, but I don't have real hard memories of things. But I still have all those tapes. That's the thing. I mean, I didn't throw fucking anything out. I lost a few tapes here and there, but some of those cassettes. But I know I have most of that stuff down in boxes down in my basement. So problem is that the tapes that I have, to make sure that they don't get damaged in the digitization phase, trying to say that 3 times fast, is that they're old enough at this point, they need to be baked. So I would need to send them off to this place that I use in New Jersey that does that kind of work where they bake the tapes, very slowly and at a very, very low temperature to adhere the glue to the oxide to the glue. They can put it on a tape machine, clean up the tape, do a couple of passes, and digitize what's on it, whether that's multi-track or stereo or whatever it might be. And I've done a number of records with them. It's not cheap, but they do give you really good digital stems to work with. So yeah, no, Don, I think that's what it comes down to is like we never really give up the music goals. I think, I haven't given up. I just, was lamenting earlier on in the program, um, just, the nature of one's work a day. I haven't retired yet. Though I've thought about the idea of like, really extracting myself sooner than later to potentially, try whatever it is I'm trying. Like I said, I've got another friend I'm going to potentially do a screenplay with. This thing here, if someone were ever to listen to it and were interested, and like Don, tell your friends in Australia that there's some schmuck from Rhode Island that gets together on a 7:30 at Eastern Standard Time at night and talks American politics and stuff. Amongst other things, and so who knows? I've got some other friends in Australia and New Zealand as well, and I it's one of those. I definitely would love to visit. Well, obviously, post COVID, more that would be a lovely thing to try to do. Would be to visit those before I die. A good bucket list thing for me, I think. And yeah, in lieu of retiring there, I mean, tell you what, man, I'm not sure if I really want to retire here in America. So, Don, I'm glad you were able to get out. To be honest, I mean, I think that I'm sure you're seeing everything that's going on around here, and it just you know, um, I there's just the amount of despair that is happening in this country at this point. I mean, it always kind of has been, but it's now that it's really coming to the surface with everything that's going on, and just the suffering happening like on purpose because of billionaire assholes. Uh, is Yeah, it really does it. And I'm not one to be rendered speechless, but as each day passes, I just there's no more platitudes. There's no more things to say that hasn't been said, other than the fact that they figure out ways to be more and more evil and heinous. The problem is that nobody's doing anything about it. Like nobody's doing anything about it. That revolution that happened on January 6th was horseshit because it was all that was a bunch of fucking mindless idiots like angered about the wrong things, you know? Like they had no idea why the fuck they were there. They thought they were, I don't know what they thought they were doing. Fucking bizarre, Anyway, so yeah, no, I'm happy that you were able to get down to Australia for sure. So I hope on that score, I hope things are good down there. I notice you're saying that the COVID cases are just a few hundred, which is that's wonderful. That things have been corralled in that regard. So I hope that you guys are safe, obviously, and keeping safe. Um, but it's good to hear that some folks have been able to get out of this country, yeah, and retire elsewhere. Oh, my cat is singing again. But Yeah, so Don, I'll I'm gonna try and do some work on some digitizing some of some of the tapes I have as well, just to get the best, see if I can get the best quality out of them, and put them up, see what happens. Just to see, just to put stuff up. It's funny. I I often think, and I think I've said this all my life. I've always thought or said it's like, I'm gonna turn like 70 or something like that, and some young kid somewhere is gonna discover, something I did or we did or whatever, and suddenly it's gonna be this smash fucking thing. It's gonna go viral, right? I've always thought for the longest time in my head that that's how that's gonna work. That's how it's gonna go, right? So I'll be 70 years old, well, probably retired, if not utterly, um, you know, uh, um, non-ambulatory, I suppose. Whether that means just not able to walk, or God knows if whether or not at 70 I'll have any of my faculties left at all. But that would be I think that would be pretty fucking funny. So who knows? Who knows? But anyway, yeah, no, it's always good to again to be able to chat with folks that haven't seen in a while, or talked to in a while, who we share some history, and Don, I don't know if you been in touch with Bob or Tom at all. Come on down anytime. Well, one of these days, there, Don. Yeah, when I know you said Southern Australia, so I'm not sure uh, where. I'm trying to think. So Southern, East, or West Coast? I'm always I always forget what's where. Australia is where I lose my. I'll be honest. Like I'm pretty good with geography. When it comes to Australia, I always forget. I always forget which coast is which, where the capitals are, which which is the capital. I always want to say Melbourne. If is Melbourne right, the capital of Australia, or I always forget. Um, but yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I would love to. Like I said, once COVID, Adelaide. That's right. That's right. I always say Melbourne. I'm not. I think it's. I'm not exactly sure why, but anyway. The what was I gonna say? So yeah, and I mean, once COVID is under control, uh, then hopefully, safe travel, and well, safe and affordable travel, I think, is the two things that would, that'd be something to do for sure. But anyway, other than that, it's like I said, it's just good to be able to keep in touch, keep track. Um, I mean, this past year has been tough in that regard. The past 4 years, really, regarding our the last administration. There's a lot of people who, unfortunately, a lot of friends that I've had to jettison because of that kind of toxicity of thought process, and you know, anybody that knows me or has known me in the past has known that I can be a pretty tolerant guy, but if you are gonna be the kind of person that is intolerant to the point of where you want me dead, or you want friends of mine dead because they're of their color or their lineage or you know their sexual orientation or whatever it might be, that's where we got to part ways. And that's not an opinion. I'm sorry. Hatred is not an opinion. So anyway, but that's preaching to the choir, I think, for the people that know me. But anyway, so good to keep track of those who are, hopefully still didn't get infected. I guess is a word, the way to word it. But again, yeah, I'd be curious. Don, I don't know if you're still in touch with Bob or Tom at all. I know that Tom, didn't he recently, or at one point he had revived the name, the band, Blackbird 13, with I don't believe Bob was in the band. It was just him, right? Um, and I think I remember seeing him the last time I saw him. I think the last time I saw Tom, oh, I know what it was. was a few years back at the one of the first Comic Cons that happened at the Providence, the the conference center there, and he was selling, some of so yeah, he was selling some of his sort of trinket like rings and the things that he used to make of the sort of um the kind of witchy Wiccan kind of stuff. Oh, okay. Oh, cool. Yeah. Lived near the Southern Ocean, I think. 2001. Wow. Yeah. I know Bob is still online somewhere, but yeah, same thing. I mean, I haven't seen Bob in God knows, probably. I don't think I haven't seen Bob since like the 1990s. I think I want to say, geez, probably 30 years ago. Um, but again, I saw Tom like a few years back, and Tom was Tom. Tom was always Tom. But but anyway, obviously, I'm still in touch with Keith and Stan via Facebook mostly. His band is Mountaindale. That sounds like a Tom uh a Tom kind of name for sure. I'll have to look that up. Um, same thing. With it's funny. Last February, as a matter of fact, I had gone to John Cleese and his daughter was doing a thing at the local Veterans Memorial, venue here in Providence, and we hadn't really seen each other. I mean, we've always been in touch via AC20 and the stuff. We haven't really worked together in God knows how long at this point, but we try to keep in touch. So it was nice to kind of just sit and hang and just kind of chit chat and around our shared love of Python, of course, and seeing John Cleese live. That was pretty special, I think. And went out to eat with his new wife, Katie, at the end, back to their house. It was really a nice little visit that we hadn't. And we had said, let's do this more often. We just need to. And then literally COVID, like about a week later, fucking all of a sudden it's like, yeah, oh, this is COVID thing. You can't go and talk to people like anymore. It's like, oh, fuck. It's like, the minute you start the process of kind of rekindling or just getting closer to somebody that you care about again. Ugh. I mean, obviously there's always Zoom and stuff, but so it's yeah. So I mean, those things are always available to us now. I think as I was saying also earlier before that I think these sort of online live things, whether they're Zoom or chats or podcasts, I think there's maybe a certain what's the word I'm looking for? There's just a certain fatigue level in all of it. I know that I think we're seeing it at the school for sure. I see and or hear from students that are just they're they're having a hard time still. I mean, they're doing it, but they're making it work. But the stress for the students and the faculty, for that matter, is like treble fold. But that's just everybody at this point. I think it's just difficult to, when you would love to be able to just go out and have a drink with somebody or a coffee or whatever, or just chat or go to each other's houses or whatever. It's just something we can't do right now. It's just kind of a bummer. But again, hopefully things are on the right path at least toward that changing in this country. So hopefully there will come a point where we'll see a headline that'll say something much similar to Australia, where there's just a few hundred cases that are easily corralled. People getting vaccinated, that one hopes one lives long enough to see the headline that COVID under control. As much as it's ever going to be. I don't know if they're ever going to eradicate it. That'd be another headline. But if they, it sounds to me like they're only going to be really able to just control it or control the symptomology of it. I mean, that's something. because we've all talked about we're talking about the fire, the West Warwick fire, and the seven um, the 6 degrees of separation of Kevin Bacon kind of thing, and it's the same thing with COVID now. The degrees of separation of people that you've lost or friends that have lost somebody or whatever are, I mean, we're talking a degree. I think it's probably safe that just about everybody that I know has lost at least one person to it, if not multiple, as well as myself have lost a few people. So yeah, been a tough year. So hopefully, Don, you're out there in Australia. I mean, how long have you been there? Actually, when did you move? When did you when did you get out of Dodge? So in other words, so if you must have been there before this all happened. But also, I'd be curious as to the well, especially now after COVID. I got to wonder other countries and how open armed they would be to an American, because I think they probably think that all Americans are idiots, right? Coming from I think that so 3 years. Oh wow, okay. I think that I remember the last time I was overseas. I was in England in 2006, and I was there to see the Bonzo Dog Doodah bands reuniting for their what would it have been, their 40th anniversary or 30th anniversary? I forget what it was. Anyway, so I am in line waiting to get into the venue, and I was letting people know, I'm from America, blah blah blah. Of course, I have the accent, and the minute you say you're from America, they give you the side eye. It's like, oh Jesus, is this one of those typical dumbass Americans? And I literally, the first thing out of my mouth, I said, just so you're aware, I am not one of them. I literally had it ready to go, as I knew going into England at the time, because it was Blair and George Bush were the leaders of the day. So one had to kind of apologize for the guilt by association, right? And so I often wonder how people view us. So I guess the question would be, is like, as an American, as an expatriate to Australia, an American living in Australia, how do Australians view us, especially the last 4 years? Like, I gotta wonder what the rubric is on that, because it's just like it must be pretty, and especially, like, I mean, God forbid, have you had to, like, have you had to, like, apologize for being American somehow? I mean, again, I can only imagine. I know that if I ever had to go overseas during that time, I think, I don't know what how I would have handled it. To be honest, I would have just felt guilty, just being, just guilt by association. It's just one of those things. But that's good. I'm glad it's there. They laugh a lot. Yeah, well, it's a clown car, that's for sure. Yeah, still, and the thing of it is even with the new administration, it's still a clown car. I guess that's part of it too. I think that's one of the things that sort of like one has to remember, that just because aspects of the new administration are gone. Oh no, let me rephrase that. As much as there are most of the old administration gone, there are still piles of shit left around that everybody's still in the process of cleaning up. So, yeah, I suppose America is pretty much worthy of the laugh at this point, because that's pretty much all we're. God knows. Well, anyway, so all that being said, let's hope that just again we're just continuing the the dialogue, and hopefully just people are pointing themselves in a better direction, and that I like to think that potentially whatever one feels about something like karma, whether it exists or not, or whether it's a thing or whatever. I believe enough in it that I think, like what you put out there comes back to you, and I like to think that that's sort of happening now with people in the GOP and the last administration and the general Nazi types. And hey, Joe, what's the difference between a Republican and a Democrat? I don't know, Don. What's the difference between a Republican and a Democrat? Yeah, I know, man. I know. I know that there's a lot of the same on both for sure. But at least I mean, for now, you know, like put it this way, and I think the dilemma that we had in this country, of course, would we rather have Bernie Sanders as president? Fuck yeah. However, I mean, at least we're hopefully in a better. Put it this way: the fact that Bernie and someone like AOC and the squad are where they are and as high into the system as they are, I'm really hoping that those are the ones that start to really change that rubric. You know what I mean? Because you're right. You're absolutely right. Republicans and Democrats, they're, each bird has a left and a right wing, right? To keep it afloat, I suppose. But I don't know if it's hope anymore, Don, at this point. Maybe it's just human stupidity on my part that I'd like still like very deep down to think that that humanity will win out somehow. I hope so. That's all I can hope for, And it's hard. It's hard though. I think that they're, especially now. I think what's happening is that more. Um, there's a doubling down, obviously, not only in the GOP, but just anybody who is um, a rich person, whether that's a Republican or a Democrat, right? Um, and I think that I think within the next, hopefully anyway, the next 10 years, that if the human species is going to enlighten itself further, then it'll enlighten itself beyond the need for money. I mean, again, one hopes that before one dies, I hope that before I die, I see some semblance of that. To be honest, because otherwise, the human race is run really. One has had to kind of take a little bit of the George Carlin tact of just basically saying, I'm just here to watch the clown show, I'm here to watch the circus, Other than that, not a lot of hope for the human race, right? Unfortunately, it's still pretty much like 90%, 10%, where it's like 90% of me says it's like, yeah, human race isn't gonna make it out of this one in the long run, but are there enough good things about the human race to potentially give it that little bit of extra oomph? Every once in a while, I say, yeah, sure, why not? Every once in a while, you see something good on the news, or you see somebody doing a good thing for somebody, a selfless thing. Or again, you see some good piece of art or literature or a movie or a TV show or whatever it might be that can kind of restore your faith in the idea of humanity, at least, of what humans can do when they get together on the same page. Not to be harmful, but to be like fucking helpful. It's certainly within us. I think that it's just too easy to fall back on being heinous, I guess. And even those of us that have good intentions about this, that, and the other have that pilot light. Oh man, my cat is just like honking up a storm tonight. What was I saying? So I got distracted by my cat. No, for those of us that hold that little dim pilot light of hope for humanity, you know, if we were when we the human race for me as an example, it's because of the nature of my mental issues, it's easy for me to glom onto the negative, about everything and everyone. I am a classic misanthrope on a lot of levels, but I have just that sliver of hope, and every once in a while I see something good that a human has done for another person or an animal or whatever it might be, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, I'm not a fan of the human race, present company accepted, you know what I mean? And but it's still a hard work going road at this point. But unfortunately, the thing that I fight with, and this is my own fault, of course, is because I'm a lot of information going through my head between Facebook and the Instagrams and all that kind of stuff, and so it's my own fault that I allow it to kind of affect me on as much as it does. But it's kind of hard not to when you see the news out there that you're seeing, and so it's hard enough to get up on a day to day basis sometimes, but one does. One person tries to persevere, and one tries to just do some work. Like this little chat thing I'm doing. I mean, wouldn't call it it's the most artful thing that I've done in my life for sure. But I'm having, like I said, I've always had the romantic notion of being on mic at the lonely radio station from midnight to 4 a.m. or whatever, alone in the darkened radio station with my caffeine to keep me awake, playing tunes, talking about shit, doing news and all that. To lonely drivers out there on the highway. And I've thought really seriously about, like, it seems like it's an easier idea to be able to get an AM radio station going, because it's kind of a forgotten format in a lot of levels. It's all pre-programmed on FM, and there's no real old school kind of radio thing going on. So it's like, it would be fun if it's work. If it was something I could, and people are doing it from their house. I'm doing it from my house right now. I just wish I had a better platform that would allow me to do more of what I would like to do. Like I'd like to be able to play music without it getting taken down because of copyright. I'd like to be able to talk. One of the things I really would love to do is talk about the records that I love and play snippets from it to talk about it and stuff, but I can't do that on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. They shut you down. But if I had a radio station, I'd be able to do that. So so it's one of those long simmering ideas from like way back. We're talking like high school. I had these thoughts. So who knows, Don? I think maybe you're right. It's one of those things. Even as you get older, you kind of look back on the ideas you have and the things that drive you artistically, that maybe we shouldn't get rid of. Maybe we should always try to strive towards, whether we make money from it or not. I mean, again, you go into the arts either as a money making idea or you don't, or you go into it and you make money as a happenstance. If you're lucky enough. And luck has a lot to do with it for sure. So, well, luck and a lot of hard work, and many people I know have put in a lot of hard work, but maybe just we didn't have the luck part, whatever. Hard to say, but we do. We persevere. We keep going. We try to do the thing, and we try to make the thing and put the thing out there if we have the time, and that's kind of all we can do under all of the duress that we've been under past however many years. So for me, I just try to keep my senses about me as best as I can, and it gets harder and harder each year, as the stressors continue to stress. So I hope to be able to retire soon too. I hope to be able to do that and still be able to maintain a living situation as I am, and to do the projects I'd like to be able to do with focus. I'd like to be able to okay, this is the project I'm going to work on, and then just work on it day to day to day to day to day, and just do it without having to worry about getting out of focus. Right, right, Bo? There's my boy. Where's my boy? My noisy boy. What are you doing? Oh, gosh. Dude, what are you doing? Ugh. It's like he wants attention, and then it's like I give it to him, and then he doesn't want it. Typical cat, right? Anyway, well, I've been up here for about 2.5 hours. Is that right? Wait, or has it been 3 hours? No, it's about 2.5 hours. Yeah. So I'm gonna probably, because I actually even haven't eaten supper yet, so I'm gonna go get some late supper, um, and probably watch a movie or something. Currently rewatching the Marvel Universe timeline. So I just finished with Iron Man 2. So I'm not sure which one is. I think the next one is the first Thor movie, right? Because for talking, I mean, as much as it's mainstream, there's a lot of artistry in those films, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm a big comics guy, and always have been. So for me, the Marvel Universe movies are like, you know, they're just like they're it's one of those things that's like a really nice surprise that happened. Like, who was ever expecting these movies to come out and be so really well rendered and just popularity notwithstanding. Yeah, Don, I'm gonna send. I thanks for the contact, and I'll definitely send you a message for sure. Let's definitely keep in touch, and I'm glad. Like I said, I hope all is well in Australia. Say hello to us. Send my regards to all your Australian friends out there, and I hope to someday be able to visit. People are interested in me chatting away at them at 1 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon in Australia from Rumford, Rhode Island, here at 10 o'clock on a Saturday evening with a noisy cat. Let them know. I will be live probably from YouTube again next week, 7:30. Might go depending on whether Instagram is being a dick or not, to try and go live on both Instagram and YouTube. And I'm not sure, but I think I might be out of Facebook jail by then as well. So who knows? Maybe I'll do 3 platforms, three at once. Who knows? Let's see who comes up and says hey. So yeah, so I'm gonna go, and but that Don is really great. I'm really glad you caught me online, and let's definitely keep in touch, and hope all is well with you and yours. Stay safe. I don't know if you all are still wearing masks out there at this point, even though you only have the small number of cases and stuff, but we're still doing it here, or at least the ones that aren't stupid are. So, so for those out there who still should be wearing a mask, please wear your mask. Don't be an asshole. Wear it correctly. And I think I'm gonna call it an evening. So, Don, have a good afternoon, as Sunday afternoon down in Australia, and hopefully we'll chat soon. And for everybody else and you, I'll be back next Saturday at 7:30, same time, same place. Unless something changes, I'll let you know. Otherwise, have a great night. Stay safe. Don't take any shit. Later.